Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm checking my volumes for Mr. B this morning. It really irritates him when I adjust my volumes right when I start the show, but sometimes I just forget. Plus, it's funny that it bothers him, so I keep doing it. I do the same thing to my wife; she'll tell you. So check this out. This is by the way, Nick Burafedo, who is Mr. B, works at Link2, who is one of my sponsors, and Link2 today is loading up the Ripple private equity. That's my understanding, and it's a good day for you to hear this from the president of Ripple, Monica Long.
I want to know, what is Ripple's big focus for 2024? If you could fast forward 12 months and be like, this is what we accomplished and I'm extremely proud of it, what would that be?
Yeah, we have this longer term vision of being that enterprise infrastructure provider, building in such a way that we're able to offer things like on and off ramp in crypto, liquidity, custody, compliance, all these feature sets together for a variety of enterprise use cases. You could think of it like for Amazon to then offer AWS. Payments was Ripple's flagship, and we're now able to offer our version of AWS, but it's for crypto. And so toward that, a big thing in 2024 to look for is how we're integrating payments and custody. This is the business that we acquired last year, Medico. And yeah, I think that's how you'll kind of see the evolution of our business.
All right.
I want to know, what is Ripple's...
I like the sound of that. And by the way, I am a Ripple private equity holder myself. There was a little spat between, I think, one of the Dogecoin founders and Brad Garlinghouse, which is really funny. The dog, you remember the other day in Davos, Brad Garlinghouse had made it. He was trying to be nice about it, but he took a common sense shot at Dogecoin and said what a lot of us out here have been saying for a long time, and he was basically saying, I don't get it. And then the founder came back and he says, to reinforce, he shared a conceptual analogy equating the dismissal of Dogecoin to preferring one fiat currency over another. He emphasized the parallel by stating, this is like saying I totally get the euro, but the yen is nonsense. And then Brad Garlinghouse says this, I understand the point you're making and agree with the point in some ways, but a more apt comparison would be the USD to the Zimbabwean dollar, which I think collapsed. Funny stuff. Mt. Gox, almost as if it was planned by the government, the Mt. Gox trustee is getting ready to start repayments of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Mt. Gox is expected to repay its creditors 142,000 Bitcoin and 143,000 Bitcoin Cash by October 2024. And then we had this. Guess who just happens to be in the ETF game with their up to their eyeballs in crypto derivatives?
Approval mean for Goldman Sachs? I know that Goldman runs a team trading crypto derivatives for institutional clients. And I read that you mentioned that you have seen significant growth in client interest for crypto derivatives. So what else is changing as a result of these approvals?
I think it's a really good question. And I think for us, this ability to actually be kind of more actively involved in the US, with these products is actually kind of, from a crypto perspective, is very powerful. So we're, active on 7 of Bitcoin ETFs that have been approved as authorized participant, soon to be 8. Plus, we were already active across, kind of the US in the context of the futures ETF, but also, more broadly across the globe, we're active in market making with the ETPs and other type products. So I think for Goldman Sachs, it's great because we can be more active. And as I look at kind of the broader markets business, it's the business that focus on ETFs, the ones looking to not only facilitate client demand, but also on both an agency, but at a principal basis as well. So I think it creates kind of opportunity in that space for a cross section for our clients. And I think as we start to think, like I say, kind of the broader product suite, you start to think about other products that can kind of, follow on from that, like structured note products and other kind of, things like that.
And it looks like the Bitcoin maxis are starting to understand what just happened.
Do you think Grayscale makes it through this exodus? Do they just become a small percentage of the Bitcoin holdings? And with the acceleration both in BlackRock and Fidelity, are they the new Bitcoin holder titans? Has this been a grand plan all along from Wall Street? Do you think Grayscale...
Has it been planned all... What did he say?
Has this been a grand plan all along from...
Grand plan all along. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. All along. That's a thumbnail. Thank you for the thumbnail. Thumbnail sponsored by Paul Barron. And then we've got Sam Lyman, who's he's a Forbes contributor, I believe. Yeah. We've got him calling out Elizabeth Warren. She's trying to point to a $900,000 in crypto money laundering, but he points out, what about the 900 million that these the Sonola and Norte del Valle, boy, I butchered those names, those cartels laundered $900 million in fiat currency through HSBC. Or I got another one. How about the guy that owned the island, How about the money that he ran through JP Morgan for child trafficking? How about that money? She has no problem with that. She won't even talk about those women victims.
Take one case. Last year, the Department of Justice indicted a Sinaloa cartel member who laundered nearly $900,000 in crypto by directing their U.S.-based drug couriers to deposit cash straight into the cartel's crypto accounts.
This woman is just straight dishonest. All she does is picks and chooses these little things these torches for her to carry, as if she cares so much about all this stuff. She doesn't care at all. If she did, then she would be even keeled in what she cared about. It wouldn't just be when the Supreme Court knocks down Roe versus Wade that she cares about women's rights. It would be the island guys' victims she would care about, but she doesn't. She won't even say their names. She won't even mention the island because she doesn't really care about women's rights. It's not about women's rights. It's about a political hammer. That's what she's about. And it's time people expose that. Check it out. Speaking of politics, Tony Edward from Thinking Crypto is having on the Prometheum CEO, Aaron Kaplan, and he wanted to know what questions people should ask him. And I said, play this entire clip and ask him what part specifically those 50 Chinese engineers played in the creation of his company, and ask him why he didn't mention that to Congress.
Mr. Kaplan, what percentage of your company is owned by a Chinese entity?
I think approximately 20%.
20% of it. How much influence do they have over your company?
They have the same rights as other shareholders.
How much access do they have to intellectual property?
Wang Zheng has no access to any Prometheum code or technology or system, server, or customer data.
If they're on the board of directors and have access to all your data from the standpoint of being an investor, how do you answer that question like that?
The bylaws were changed in the filing that was filed with the SEC on November 2021.
You know what it sounds like when you listen to all this? It sounds like China built the whole company, and then they went in and changed the bylaws so that they could point at those and say, oh, no, they didn't have it. See, they were taken out of the loop after they built the whole company. That's what it sounds like.
And they basically limit who has access to data, including directors.
Okay, where's the data stored right now?
In the United States. The third advantage is on the tech side. Prometheum.
This is him speaking at a conference years back, and he forgot he had this little clip out there.
A lead investor and technical co-founder is Shanghai Wangzheng Blockchain. And basically, we have 50 plus blockchain engineers working on the Prometheum project. Shanghai Wangjing blockchain is considered the preeminent force when it comes to blockchain engineering talent in the world, and they're really our partner. They're not a third-party service provider, they're a co-founder of this company. Their vice chairman, Dr. Shao, sits on our board, and we work with them hand in hand. And with their expertise, we've been able to rock and roll. And we're going to be demoing for FINRA, we anticipate, next month of our ATS and our blockchain, which we hope will then lead to a quick approval and being live before the end of the year.
50 Chinese engineers are who created that company, and he knows it. Truth Labs had a question too. He said, ask him, did you purchase or do you own killtrump.eth? He's tracked it back and says that they do. What's your relationship with Wang Dongfeng and Longling Capital? How reliant is Prometheum on CCP entities like Wang Zhang? And then this guy says he's not going to ask that. And he says, it's his biggest opportunity in his career. I'll stay optimistic and see if he realizes it and seizes it. Shout out to Tony, seize the day. And then we had Meta Lawman was on with John Deaton yesterday. While I was on the treadmill, I watched part of it. Watch.
If Coinbase wins either a partial motion for dismiss or the full thing, what's that mean?
Well, it would be huge. It would mean that trading of crypto on secondary markets in the United States is legal. A dark cloud would be removed. Now we have to give the caveat that there are appeals. And this is one judge's opinion, but this is the big one. Coinbase is the dominant player in this space. And so the 10 or 13 tokens they picked out are representative of the whole.
All right, and then this is interesting too. Riz put this out, Riz XRP. Watch this.
We are tired of the letter writing campaign by the Financial Services Committee. There's been a threat to issue a subpoena. We need to follow through. So that's not an empty threat. Take the 30 seconds that it takes. Get the messages out there. We want Gary Gensler to be subpoenaed and the documents that have been requested repeatedly, that request to be honored. And no longer do we want his voluntary participation. We want him forced to do it.
The SEC is coming after all of crypto.
Weak regulators spread fear, and strong regulators spread opportunity. I think we've got a real problem because the SEC has been spreading fear.
Remember, Gary Gensler says that the law is crystal clear. Well, if the law is crystal clear, as he suggests, then he certainly could answer whether or not the second largest cryptocurrency in the world is a security.
Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to anyone.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one. Bitcoin.
Where are the notes of Gary Gensler, who met with this guy twice? Sam Bankman-Fried gave $10 million to the administration for the purpose of access.
They still have a strong hand. If they win, that ripples throughout the industry.
And that's what I was getting at. If XRP is deemed security.
You think they're going to win?
No. I think the SEC is going to lose at summary judgment because of the theory that they went with.
I think the SEC is going to win. And I'll tell you, it's going to be a bad day for crypto if they win.
Okay,
right.
We're going to put that dinner on that? You got it.
Ripple didn't violate securities by selling XRP on public exchanges was the ruling.
Today.
Where did they have that steak dinner? I hadn't heard about it.
Is arguably the best day in crypto.
XRP just won in their case against the SEC. The SEC losing the biggest case that's been running for years, deeming that XRP and the trades and transactions that have occurred are not security.
December 22nd, 2020, right before Christmas, and the goddamn SEC is suing me. Out of nowhere comes a ray of sunshine, and that sunshine is named John D. This village beat the bull.
We are in it till the end.
So you'd take it to SCOTUS?
100%.
Love it. Now, guess who just joined the fight? This is Norman Reed. He was the original general counsel for Ripple in the early days. And he's now like an interim CEO at Binance, and they're in a lawsuit with the SEC. He says, standing up to government overreach is an American tradition. Now it's crypto's turn. SEC was founded on principles of transparency, fairness, full disclosure, stable regulation, taking into account the economic impact of its regulations and the well-being of investors. It is principles that I sought to uphold during my tenure at the SEC earlier in my career. Yet, with regard to digital assets, the SEC has lost its way. This has become clear to me in my current role as interim CEO of Binance.US and through my prior experience as general counsel of Ripple. The SEC is attempting a jurisdictional land grab of digital assets when no such thing has been authorized by Congress or by the courts. Instead of working with legislators and agencies to put in place a comprehensive regulatory scheme, the rules adopted after prudent cost-benefit analysis and public comments, the SEC is bringing one-off enforcement cases to markets territory at tremendous cost to the U.S. economy and the agency's credibility. This is not the way the SEC should be addressing new, innovative financial instruments and technology. He goes on, but I mean, that's pretty significant right there. Okay, I'm going to do this in another video. We're going to go into DAIXRP.com, and let me tell you what, folks. The things that are coming out on a daily basis are unbelievable. I was sitting here at my desk last night watching TV, and I'm seeing things come across, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. When I was growing up, the second anything like this comes out, the feds would be investigating and arresting people immediately. We now live in a world where they do nothing because their friends are part of the ones that are in the corruption. It's unbelievable. We're like a banana republic now. And I'm going to show you, it's unbelievable the things that are going on every day in this country now. And you know why we're seeing them every day now? It's because all the lies are being unraveled. You can only lie about this and that, and then once you start lying, you got to lie about another thing to cover up the lie you just did. Well, our government, in my opinion, over the last at least 5 years, those lies have begun to unravel because it's getting out of their control to cover up for the previous lie that they told. And there's video, and there's documents, and there's everything else. It's like they're being exposed, which makes me nervous because that's like a cornered rattlesnake. Because you can't, look, the truth always comes out at some point. And the question that our country is facing right now, we're going one way or the next, folks. We're either going the way of truth or we're going the way of corruption and lies. And if we go the way of corruption and lies, the next step, the thing they have to do is they have to come after all the good people, because they can't have the good people continuing to question publicly the lies. They will literally have to go the way of the Nazis and start putting people in jail, the good people in jail, to keep them from being individuals that stand for what's right and wrong and the truth. That's the scary part, is that's where this goes. Anyway, go to DAIXRP.com and we're going to talk about it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Gary Gensler at the SEC, he's just one. I mean, this is like the Sopranos. He's just one of the lieutenants that's got to be taken down. He's just one. And in my opinion, it won't suffice for this country to continue to live on as it was founded. It won't suffice this time for these people to just, oh yeah, okay, they were busted lying and doing criminal acts, and so they're going to retire and be put out to pasture. That's not going to be good enough. These people are going to have to go to prison because you've got to, whoever fixes this, if they fix it, is going to have to do things that are drastic enough so that nobody ever wants to repeat what these people thought they were getting away with for all this time. And that's the fact, Jack. So here we go.